Welcome friends to another r/entitled parents video. My parents always taught me to do the nice thing, and the nicest thing you could do would be to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by What to Do, What to Say 1. Entitled Mother expects me to work during my spring break. I explained why I couldn't, then she fired me. I'm a 20-year-old female and a college student. Over the past few months, I've been working for my parents at their pet store during breaks or when I can on weekends and they ask for my help. Spring break's coming up, and I've already made plans with my friend and roommate. I've been making these plans for a while, and I told my parents about when I'll be gone during this break. They had asked me to work on this upcoming Saturday, March 5th, and I had declined since that was the first day of my break, and my friend lives 4+ hours away from my college, 5+ hours away from my house and pet shop. A few days after, my mother texts me and asks me to work for the Saturday afterwards, March 12th. So she and my stepdad can go to a celebration for a family friend, while my oldest sister goes to see her fiancé. Although I have no issues with them wanting to do their own thing, that's my last day of break before I have to move back into my college dorm. My family environment is rather toxic, and there's a lot of people living in a 3-bedroom house. For further context, my parents share a room, my grandma, mother's mom, has her own room, I share a room with my pregnant twin sister, and my oldest sister sleeps on an air mattress in the living room. And I would rather not be in an environment that makes me uncomfortable and super stressed out. Below is a long, mainly because of me, conversation between me and my mother that we had over text. Entitled Mother said, "When are you coming home? Since you can't be here to work this Saturday, can you come to work on the 12th? I say I was going to come for the baby shower, since that's the day I have to be back at school. Entitled Mother said, "Older sister wants to be able to go see her fiancé, and we have an event celebrating family friend, plus getting everything together for the shower." Note, twin sister had already told me that the restaurant we were going to was already going to have everything set up for us on that day. She said, "We'd prefer not to leave twin sister at the shop by herself." I say, "I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I'm in class and I've already made plans for break, so I'll have to see what I can do." I reply, "So I won't be able to come to work on the 12th. I've already made plans for break, and I want to use this break to get away from school and from regular daily life. I feel like I shouldn't have to compromise on my time off. I want to be able to spend time with my friend because I don't have much college time left with her. I don't like how I feel all of this pressure and weight is being put upon me to make a decision. I also don't appreciate how the options presented to me are either 1, I come into work and lose out on spending time with my friend that I'd already planned for, or 2, leave my sister to work at the pet shop by herself. Regardless of my decision, this situation is not fair for me or twin sister. I'm a seasonal worker. I'll work on the days that I can work, but when I can't work, I shouldn't have to be the person to regularly or solely rely on. If I was working at any other job, I would tell them no too. So don't think it's because I'm working for you guys. If I was still working at PJ, I wouldn't have even told them I was going to have this break off, because I wouldn't want to be put on schedule and expected to work. Again, I don't mind working when I can. I've been to the store to work on weekends before, but I'm not reliable to do it all the time. I'm sorry that this is the situation that it is, but my answer is no. I can't be there on the 12th. Entitled Mother replies, "You don't have to do anything. Enjoy your break," then says, "We won't ask you to work for us anymore. We are a family business, and we're doing what we can for each other to give each other a break. We will do what we have to do. We will hire other people to fill in, but that means you will have to go back to PJ because it will not be fair to our employees to give you their hours simply because you're our daughter. No hard feelings, no worries, and no stress." I reply, "If the determining factor is either me working or twin sister being there by herself, you aren't running a family business right. Even a family business wouldn't force one worker to be by themselves or force a worker to come from being on time off to work." She replies, "She will have someone. We asked the kennel cleaner to work with her. You have no clue how a business works." I reply, "You and entitled stepdad have preached to me since day 1 that I need to spend more time with my friends, that I needed to make more friends. You two are hypocrites, because now the few times I get to spend with my friends, you want me to drop it? I've sacrificed a lot of my time in my life to do things for y'all because you asked me to. You're proving to me that it doesn't matter what it is I say or what it is that I do, you won't be happy about it either way. There have been many times that I've bent over backwards to help you, but that doesn't matter, does it? What's gonna happen when one of your hired workers can't come in 2 Saturdays in a row? You gonna fire them too? Gonna tell them to get a new job? I gave you notice. I gave you my answer before the date comes. Most people won't even give you that courtesy. But I'm the bad guy because I said no to 2 Saturdays? Even though I've given you my Saturdays and Sundays and brought my friends from school to help you all out? Really? You're serious right now? What did you plan on doing when I have to start doing my internship next semester? I can't do school, an internship, a part-time job at the school, and come in for y'all when you text me. She replies, we didn't ask you to sacrifice your entire break. We asked you to come home on Saturday instead of Sunday. You said no. For the record, we didn't need your friends to come. You needed your friends, so you didn't have to do the work alone. We were trying to be a blessing to you and your friends, but that backfired. You came home a handful of times. That's not a lot. It's not like we expected you to come home every weekend to work. And don't act like Duncan didn't call you in on your days off because you filled in a bunch of times. We have to have people we can count on to be dependable. To say that we should shut down on one of our better sales days is unrealistic. If we don't sell dogs, we don't stay in business. I reply, you're also missing the point that this isn't just about the business itself. It's also the fact that this is also about how y'all tried to guilt trip me into agreeing to work on the 12th too. If your solution is to just get the girl who cleans and works the floor to work, why didn't you present that as an option as well? What you did was try to guilt trip me into making a decision that you wanted me to make. She replied, nobody tried to guilt trip you. I told you what the situation was. Now you just want to be confrontational, and I'm not about all that negativity. Enjoy your vacay and be safe. See you at the gender reveal. Note, she and my entitled stepdad are currently on a vacation in Florida for the weekend so they can relax and unwind. After talking to my twin sister about it, she agrees with me and that my mother was being overly petty and disregarded my feelings and how important this break is for me. Twin sister also said that if both of us were in college or if we were both on vacation at the same time, she wouldn't want to give up part of her already planned break either. I know this isn't a "Am I the jerk" post, but do you guys have any thoughts? I can provide more info to the best of my ability, but am I actually in the wrong here? Did I make a mistake? So, I think OP's not the jerk. In all seriousness, isn't this why they say don't work with your friends or family? I think the real heart of the problem here is they're expecting super professional work from somebody that's not actually employed or is under those kinds of proper expectations to be professional. If it's your kid that comes over every once in a while to help out, it's not nearly the same as somebody that actually has employment with you, and by extension, a certain amount of days off that they can take, sick days, etc. Them expecting you to drop whatever it is you're doing, especially when you gave them heads up notice, is definitely just them trying to abuse their relationship with you to try and get you to come in and do some easy work for them and make it easy on them. What do you guys think? Is OP in the wrong here? Should they have just helped out? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Our next story is by JC Sparkle. My father won't let me shut my bedroom door at night. I'm 19. 19. Freaking 19. We live in a 2-bedroom house and there's 5 of us. My parents, little brother, 14, and grandmother. My brother and I share a room, separate beds. My parents sleep on the couch bed in the hall, and my grandmother has her own room. So there's absolutely no privacy throughout the day. I don't get a single moment where no one is around or invading my space. My mother's constantly yelling, shouting, at my brother mostly, but it bothers me so much because it happens every day and it affects my peace of mind. Gives me a bad trip back to my childhood where my parents used to do the same to me. My grandmother always sits in the living room where she puts the TV blaring at full volume. I had my college semester end exams going on due to the pandemic, and so I was in the living room because my mother wanted to use my room to nap. I requested my grandmother to turn off the TV for an hour and a half while I finished my exam. She agreed, but kept talking to me while I was giving my exam to ask how much more time and if she could turn the TV on and put it on mute. So nighttime is the only time I get peace. But of course, my father takes that away too, being the piece of crap that he is. So there's 2 bathrooms in the house. One in my room, which 4 of us use, and the other near my grandmother's room, which she uses. I understand he has to come in to use the washroom at night. and so I don't lock my bedroom door, just shut it. But he gets mad because I'm not allowed to use my cell phone past 11. So he makes me keep the door open so he could check if I'm still on my phone. Because I can just turn my phone off if I hear the door opening. This is a phone I pay for myself, by the way. Yes, I, a goddarn adult, have a freaking screen limit. I'm so pissed, frustrated, and just want to scream. I'm freaking suffocating to death here. We're okay economically. My father has a bigger house 20 minutes away. He just chooses to live in the smaller one because he wants to be closer to his older sister so that she can look after grandmother when we're away. I don't really care about this, but you'd think he'd at least let us breathe every so often and get some privacy knowing this. But no, obviously. For cultural context, we're South Asian. I don't know if it was necessary to add that, but yeah. To those saying I should move out, I do work part-time. It pays enough to be able to afford to pay the phone bills and groceries, but I can't afford even a quarter of the rent. That's the economy here. Before you have a master's, you don't earn enough to be able to rent out. Imagine the USA's hourly minimum wage. That's our monthly earning as a student working part-time. And the rent is the same as a studio apartment in Los Angeles in the state I live in. Best way I can explain. Honestly, as much as OP wants to justify how they can't afford anything, even in the US it's getting to the point where you can't work a part-time job and pay rent. In a lot of places, you have to work a full-time job just to afford to pay your rent, pay your house insurance, health insurance if you can afford it. It's tough out there, so for a 19-year-old, regardless of where you are, I don't blame them for not being able to just move out. This next story is by Snowy Queen 20. Am I the jerk if I tell my stepmom off? I, 21-year-old female, currently live with my stepmom and my dad. I just had a baby 6 months ago, and they have 4 kids of their own. Me and my dad are okay, but my stepmom likes to tear me down every chance she gets. She judges every move I make without a single care because she thinks because she had kids she knows better. Some don't even have their vaccines. In all honesty, I'm getting tired of being parented while I'm doing what I think is best for my child. She's even told me if you aren't gonna follow my advice, then you shouldn't have had kids. I'm at my wit's end. She even tells me that I can't feed him when he's literally screaming at the top of his lungs wanting a darn bottle. Yes, I know my child cries. I can't give him a bottle because he's too big. I can't give him a bottle because he's too big. The kid's only 22 pounds. He was a freaking preemie at birth, 3 weeks early, so I don't understand why she's butting in like that. I've been recently getting more mentally exhausted at night when he wakes up needing a bottle. I've tried so hard to stay awake, but it's difficult. When you're exhausted, your brain literally just shuts down needing sleep. I don't mean to fall asleep while feeding him, but it just happens. And she basically calls me a crap mom because I kept him in my bed and fell asleep with him instead of putting him in his crib. What am I supposed to do? Put him in his crib and let him scream at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning and wake everyone up? I'll get yelled at if I do that too. So I don't know how much it might affect you mentally, but I think the best way to deal with this is kind of just go completely blank with her. Just thank you for your feedback, I'll consider that. If she tries to get a rise out of you, just thank you for your feedback, I'll consider that. And just stay unwavering, no emotion, no giving in to this or that. It's tough, but giving in, letting her get a rise out of you, trying to push you out of the house, it's just not reasonable. Don't let her have that power over you. And our final story of the day is by SorenH20. Entitled Mother wants me to work 40 hours a week now that I'm an adult. Background, I turned 19 last August and have been working almost a year round since I was legally able to, 15, and have been working summer breaks when I'm back from college. I have an older brother, B, who's 20, turning 21 this May. He worked year round as well till college time came, then never worked again. On to the entitlement of my wonderful mother. She was raised on that if you're not working, you're a waste of space type of mentality. And it's slowly been getting worse and worse on us as our children. I came home last weekend to pick up and sort out all of our travel preparations for spring break, passports, luggage, plane tickets, and scheduling stuff, and the topic of working over summer break got brought up. I worked all last summer doing 7 to 9 hours a day, maybe 3 times a week at our town's pool. Entitled Mother wants me to become an assistant manager there, which would be working almost every day the same hours. Getting paid maybe 50 cents more, having a bunch more responsibilities, and only getting 1 week of summer break off. Entitled Mother already knows I can't take this position as I'm already going on a 2-week trip with the rest of the family at the beginning of spring break, and I'm going with my boyfriend and his family on a trip in July. Already over what I'd be allowed with that position. Entitled Mother was not having it. She started screaming that since I'm an adult now, I should be working 40 hours a week over the summer since I'm not in school then. And she doesn't want me laying around the house all summer like B did, and that if I needed to work 2 or 3 jobs to make those 40 hours a week, she'd make me. I reminded her that I've worked consistently every summer since going off to school, and have been working a job while at school, while B hadn't worked since he left. Entitled Mother snapped back with, "Well, that's his choice. He's an adult and he can choose whether to work or not." I've since gone back to college and have been low contact with Entitled Mother since that conversation, and have not discussed anything more about summer work at all. Sadly, with parents that are like this, I think that's a pretty common outcome. You get out of that situation and you go little or no contact with them. And then it's like the times you do get in contact with them, they'll probably say like, "Why do you hate me?" or "Why do you always avoid me?" It's like, cause you got that attitude. You come out swinging with the victim complex and trying to control my life. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.